It's read the small business system and is suggesting where you should put things. It's suggesting our new work packages for how you develop the work. So it's perfect. It's absolutely brilliant. The Johnny.Decimal system now has an MCP server, which means you can connect your AI to it, Claude, ChatGPT, whoever you like, and get knowledge, structured knowledge, directly from the system. So let's hook it up and I'll just give you a very quick example of how it works. First, just conceptually, because it's worth having at least a vague idea of how this thing works. What an MCP server is, it is a way for someone like me to provide your agent with structured knowledge. So what you do is, and we'll do this in a second, you connect to it and then it tells your agent what it can do. And then when you ask your agent a question, your agent looks through the list of skills that my server has said that it can offer. And if it thinks my server will be helpful, then it will go and ask my server for more information. So that's how that works. Important to note that my server never gets sent your personal information, doesn't get sent the contents of your chat. My server isn't running any AI, which is how I can afford to do this for you and not charge you $10 a month for it. All the AI is happening in your Claude or in your ChatGPT, as it always was. All my server is doing is responding with structured information based on requests for that information from your agent. So the first thing we need to do is to make that connection. We need to connect Claude or ChatGPT to my MCP server so that it understands when you ask a question that it's one of the things that it can call on. So let's do that. It's different in each of these apps. Here we are in Claude, which is the one I actually use. I'm going to go to settings, and in Claude, it's called a connector. Go down to connectors. You need to add a custom connector. Now, how do you know where you need to be? You need to be at this URL. And if you go to it, Johnny.Decimal.com/MCP, you should see this error invalid token. You need to be signed into your Johnny.Decimal account. And for most of the stuff I'm going to show you, you need a pro account. And in fact, if we just flick back to here, what the MCP server's got access to is all of my documentation and all of my blog posts, all of my forum posts going back 5 years. So that's particularly valuable. All of the ad hoc questions I've been asked on the forum, it has access to. So if you ask something similar, you're going to get an answer as if I'd answered it on the forum for you. The complete life admin system, the complete small business system, including the 50,000 words of descriptive text they've got. So that's a really amazing resource. It can plan, as we'll see, it can plan entire pieces of work for you based on those systems. And very shortly, what it will have is all course transcripts. So it will understand the contents of the workshop and the task and project management course. And if you ask it a question related to that, you'll get a link to a specific video back. It should actually be able to tell you what I said in the course. You might not even need to watch the video, but if you want to, you'll be able to go and watch the video. And the workbook, which is the step-by-step system building guide, will be in there. And we're also going to build some more specific how-to guides, which is a bit of a future project. So that's what it has access to. Most of this needs a pro account. I think by default, with a free account, you can read the documentation. Everything else needs a pro account. So let's go back to Claude. I'm going to copy out this Johnny.Decimal.com/MCP address, hide that. We're in add custom connector, the name of the connector, I'm just going to call it JD. The remote URL is the thing we just copied, and that should be all you need. Click add, and it's going to ask you to connect. And there you go. It's going to show you something like this. It's going to say that you need to connect to the MCP server. And what this is going to do is pop up an authentication, and you need to click allow. There we go. Click allow when you get the authentication, and then click allow to allow that to open back in Claude. And that should be connected to the server now, and we can ask it a test question. Let's say, what can the JD server do for me? And this will ask my server what its skills are, and it'll tell your agent what it can do. And there you go, it's telling me I own the life admin system and the small business system, and it's got my opinions and so on and so forth. What I'm going to get it to do is, let's build a new product, some nonsense about bananas just for a bit of fun. And I've said at the end, ask me no more questions, we'll refine later, just so that it gets on with it while we connect this in ChatGPT. So we'll let that one work. Going to go to ChatGPT, and it's similar there. You go to settings, and here you want to be in plugins, browse plugins, click the plus, and then that's the name. Ignore the description, put the URL, put the correct URL in the connection box, tick the box to say that you understand, and create. Again, you need to authenticate, so click sign in with JD. That's going to pop up that same authentication box. Click allow, And there you go, we are in, and there we go. Let's ask it the same stupid question about bananas. While we are waiting for some of these responses, you might also be interested in the Johnny.Decimal skills, which are complementary skills that help you use your JDEX. Again, these are going to be refined a lot, but you might find those useful, and you can install those with npx skills add Johnny.Decimal/skills, and I'll keep those up to date on the blog as well. So let's have a look at ChatGPT has responded. It's going to be product-led banana structure, the banana company. It's identified 2111 as the new place for your products. It tells you all about suppliers and equipment, and this is basically the Johnny.Decimal small business system it's running through, right? Define your colors in design elements. That's exactly right. Just to prove that's exactly right, by the way, here's my very own JDEX with design elements, and there are the Johnny.Decimal brand colors. And it's not reading my system, it's reading the generic system. So that's proof that that works and tells you all about that. ChatGPT should have come back with something very similar. There you go. You can see it's read the small business system and is suggesting where you should put things. It's suggesting our new work packages for how you develop the work. So it's perfect. It's absolutely brilliant. And you can keep asking it questions. So there's just a really quick look at that. I think of it like connecting my brain to your agent. Play around with that, let me know what you need, and we'll be improving this lots over the next couple of months. Privacy addendum. So I want to show you how this works, and I think this is important because whenever you connect to an MCP server, which you're going to do a lot, the thing says that it is important that you trust the person who runs this server. And it is important that you trust the person that runs this server. And this is why. So just earlier I said that I don't get sent your private information, and that's kind of not true. What I want to show you exactly what I do get sent because it's interesting, and then I want to show you what I specifically am doing about it and why you just need to be cautious. So what happens is, and we're just going to ask this agent a question here, and I'm going to ask it something sensitive, which is how do I plan my divorce with JD? And that's me on the right hand side. Now what Claude's going to do there is figure out what it needs to ask my server in order to get useful information back from it. And it therefore necessarily has to, there we go. It therefore necessarily has to include some of your personal information. You can see it's included a bunch of keywords, and had I typed paragraphs and paragraphs on the right hand side, it still would have only sent a bunch of keywords on the left hand side. But on the left hand side is my development server in demo mode. I'll explain in a second what this is. And you can see, if I choose to, I can see who's making a request, and I can at least see enough details of it that you wouldn't want me to have them. And this applies to anybody who runs an MCP server. So here's what I'm doing about it. This thing on the left is a demo. I haven't, if you're into code, I haven't committed this. This is not my live system. These are not my live logs. I set this up just now specifically for this video, and I'm going to discard this in a moment. I'm going to show you now my actual server logs, because what I've done is, here are my actual, I wanted to do this live, which means it's not going to be very smooth. I wanted to do this live so that you could see that I wasn't lying to you. So here we are, it's August 23rd at, there's the time, at 00:29. So this is the sort of query that I have chosen to log, because I choose what to log. When your request hits my server, it doesn't log anything by default. I have to choose to do it. So what I've chosen to log is just the fact that a particular agent, in this case Claude Code 2.1. whatever, has connected. And the other thing that I log is, you can see, here we go, get documentation. So there are two things that I log. I log who an agent has connected, and I log which of my tools was requested. I don't log anything about you, so I don't log your user ID, any of this stuff, and I certainly don't log anything about the request that you sent. You just have to trust me. That's why it's phrased this way. When it says, do you trust the person who runs this server? That's just a question. Do you trust the person? So if you trust me and you believe what I've just told you, that's great. And if you don't use my MCP server. And that's about as simple as it gets. I hope that gives you some confidence and just makes you aware of the sort of data that you are sending around when you send queries to services like mine.